Hey guys, welcome back to more political chatter. Today we will be talking about this absolutely stunning poll that we have from Tennessee's 7th congressional district. If you haven't heard, Tennessee will host a special election on December 2nd to fill a vacated congressional seat left by Mark Green here in Tennessee's 7th district. Now, this poll was taken from Emerson, an A-rated pollster. A-rated, known for their accuracy. They're very well respected in the world of polling, and they show an absolute shocking result in Tennessee's 7th. The Republican has a lead of 2%. Matt Van Epps, the Republican nominee here, at 48%. Afton Bain at 46%, just 2 points below him. And keep in mind, in 2024, this was a safe Republican district, and it has been for quite some time. This is one that Republicans can count on reliably. They never have to focus on winning the seat, and it voted for Trump in 2024 by 22%. Just 1 year later, in 2025, Afton Bain, the Democrat, is down by 2. Could you imagine if if a result like anything like this happened? It would be out of this world if Afton Bain could come within like 8, and it looks like she's certainly going to do that. And it looks like with this and the early voting data, that Democrats could actually win this seat, which sounds insane to say, but it looks like it is in the realm of possibility. But you're seeing Trump get scared. His super PAC is putting millions of dollars into ads into this race. Now Democrats are getting involved because they could see this as a potential flip, even shrinking the Republican majority in the House even more. Watch this seat in 1 week from now when they vote. This could actually be one that flips. Now, before we move on to an analysis of this race specifically, let's just talk about what this would mean if the Democrat can even get this close, let alone win, let alone win. If Afton Bain, if the margin is in fact 2 points, this would be a 20-point overperformance of the Democrats since just a year ago, since 2020, and since 2024, I mean. A 20-point overperformance. You do not see that in a single year. But if that were to happen on the national level, if 2026 were to be 20 points more Democratic than 2 years ago, 2024, then we are looking at a seismic, just a blue tsunami for the Democrats come 2026. So what you're looking at here is the House map from 2024. How each district voted. Republicans ended up with 220 seats, Democrats with 215. But what if every seat were to become 20 points more Democratic than they were in 2020? What would something like that look like? Well, we could see here. And look at that. Look at that. If every seat votes how Tennessee 7th does, then we're looking at Democrats remaining in power for years and years and years just based off of this one win. Now, look at how significant this is before we even get into the numbers. I mean, it's 280 to 155 if you can't see here. I mean, that's just insane. But to give you an idea of how insane it is that this race is this close, look at the map. This is Tennessee's 7th congressional district. This light pink one, this light red one. Even this district doesn't flip blue when it becomes 20 points more more Democratic, excuse me. Look at all of these other seats. You have Montana's first becoming likely Dem. Okay, you have this rural district in Utah. I think it's the 3rd district in Utah becoming incredibly close. You have Eli Crane's district in Arizona becoming likely Dem. Schweikert's district becoming likely Dem there. You have California isn't really relevant since their maps are changed now. You've got Gonzalez's district in Texas narrowing down to a lean margin. You have Elise Stefanik's district in New York becoming a lean margin. You've got what's his name? I forget the name. You've got this incredibly rural district in Michigan, excuse me, completely rural, Nobody lives there. That getting down to a lean margin. So the fact that all of, look at this. I mean, Kansas's first flips. The fact that this is the map and Tennessee's seventh doesn't flip goes to show how incredibly, um, just beyond belief it is that this race is this close, a 2 point margin. Also, on a quick side note, if Democrats do outperform so well, you can see how the Republican gerrymanders backfire significantly. Texas, we can't see because this is the 2024 map, and their gerrymander. We can't see their gerrymander yet, but you see the effect in North Carolina. Look at North Carolina. You have one, two, three, four, five. No, that was already four, five, six, seven districts becoming more, flipping Democratic, not becoming more Democratic, but flipping Democratic. All those districts that I just counted off become more Democratic. I'm sorry, God, flip Democratic in 2026. And that's because they gerrymandered the state so hard where they made a bunch of likely Republican districts. They're not quite Democratic, but they're not 20-point Republican victories. So if Democrats are outperforming by 20 and every district is a below 20 win or is a below 20 partisan lean for the Republicans, then you've got all those districts flipping to the Democrats in 2026, and that could be a backfired gerrymander. That's when a gerrymander backfires badly. That could happen even worse for Republicans in Texas. But talking about this district specifically, Tennessee's 7th congressional district, it looks like Afton Bain might just be able to pull this off after all. So you've got we do have early voting data that really does give us a good clue as to where voters are turning out and where voters are energized. And what you'll notice is that the more Democratic the area, the precinct, the county, the more they are turning out, and vice versa. The more Republican a county, the less they are turning out. And not just by raw numbers, because of course the more rural counties with less people living there are going to have less voters. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the rate. VoteHub gives us the rate that each county is turning out compared to 2024. And look at this little what can I plot graph here. Look at the x-axis here, where you've got how each county voted. There are a bunch of counties in Tennessee's 7th district. Only one voted Democratic. Only one is Democratic and voted Democratic in the last election. That's the county where Nashville is. Now, Nashville is not, or is it, no, it's not Memphis, is it? Um, is it? No, because it says Nashville on the map. But anyway, Tennessee is very gerrymandered anyway. This is not the full county where Nashville is. The Republicans split Nashville into a bunch of the different districts so that their vote share is all spread out and they can't have a representative in Congress. Just keep that in mind. But still, regardless, the one county, part of Tennessee's 7th congressional district, that is blue is Nashville County. They only have one. Whoops, they only have one Democratic county. All of these other plots are Republican counties. That's what each one represents. Now look at the one Democratic county. And of course, you've got the x-axis that shows how each county voted. On the left is the Republican voting counties, and on the right is the more Democratic voting counties. And then on the y-axis, you have their turnout compared to 2024. Obviously, turnout in a special election will be below that of a presidential election, but still, it matters how they vote compared to each other and if Democrats or Republicans are turning out. So, and of course, the higher on the on the y-axis, the higher they are turning out. Look at that Democratic county. That one is pretty up there. But look at the other one that's up there. There's not a label, unfortunately, for that. But I can tell you that because it's the highest turnout county of them all, that is Clarksville. The county with Clarksville on it. Wait, why did I? No. sorry, it should actually be either Williamson or Cheatham. But that's not even the point. I won't even go there. What the point is look at these. You can see the effect even better in these lower turnout counties. We'll call them. Look at the single lowest turnout county. Only about what 13% of that of 2024. It also happens to be the most Republican county in the district, with a margin of 80 points for the Republican Party. They win 80, or they win almost 80% of the vote there. The Republican candidate. That would be It's either one of these two districts down here where absolutely nobody is turning out to vote. Hop is this what? Why can't it tell you the county name? Oh, Wayne County, there it is. You've got Wayne County and you've got Perry County. Just terrible, terrible turnout for the Republican Party. Not looking good when these are the single most Republican counties in the state. Look at this, the results from 2024 in this district. Where do you see the darkest shade of red? These three counties at the bottom here. And they are the counties that are turning out less. It's funny, you could actually see quite a correlation. The more light red or the more blue the county, the more they are turning out. Nashville, the county with Clarksville, that is Montgomery County with Clarksville. And then you've got Wayne, and you've got Perry County. Not doing so hot in turnout, and they're the most Republican districts. Montgomery, Cheatham, Williamson, and Davidson, the most Democratic counties, as you could see here, the most light red, we should say, or blue, and the most and the highest turnout we have in those counties. So Afton Bain, all in all, is doing what she needs to do, but she will really have to focus in on Nashville. I mean, you know, what might put her over the edge if she does win is the fact that Republicans aren't turning out. Look, this gives you a better idea of where the Republicans are. I mean, wow. That is some dark red there. I mean, you've got Assad margins for Republicans here. 90 points for Donald Trump. He won 90% of the vote in this county in this precinct in Wayne County, and they are not turning out to vote for the Republican again. But anyway, that was a side tangent. If Afton Bain does win, I of course will credit it to Republicans not turning out. You know, not necessarily turning out to vote for Afton Bain, but certainly not turning out to vote for the Republican Mark Van Epps in this district. That is what will win Afton Bain this election. Obviously, is low Republican turnout, but in terms of what Afton Bain needs to do, she can't go to these rural areas and tell them not to vote, of course. She will have to drive out, turn out in Nashville. And another side tangent, and this is what I mean when I was talking about Nashville being so gerrymandered. Look at this. Look, see all that blue around Nashville? And it just happens to be split between one, two, I'm roughly drawing the shape of the district here, and then three districts. Just so happens to be that way. They can't have their own district, apparently. So Afton Bain will have to get out the vote in Nashville, obviously. And then watch Clarksville, because Clarksville is turning out in big, big numbers, and they lean Democratic. That means a lot of votes for Afton Bain. We should probably see, some of these like 55-point margins that Kamala Harris, or I should say 55% of the votes, so like 10-point margins that Harris got in some of these precincts last year around Clarksville. We should watch some of these in a week, really skyrocket for Afton Bain, more like 20 or 30-point victories in some of these precincts. So watch that. That'll be pretty significant. But again, Nashville. This is where Democrats' Assad margins are. Kamala Harris won 88% in this precinct, 86% in this precinct, 89%. And then as you get towards more the center, it gets a little closer for some reason. I don't know the demographic or the voter specifics when it comes to Nashville, but in the center of the city, for some reason, they are a bit more. It is a bit more split. There are a bit more Republicans. Democrats do still win every single precinct, but it's 63 and then 52% for Harris and then 68, whatever. Doesn't really matter all in all. But Afton Bain will have to turn out these voters. But at first I was very skeptical. I was always skeptical of Afton Bain's chances. Of course, because it's Tennessee 7th, Trump plus 22 district, but also because of the demographics. I might have it up. Yeah, I do. I could get it here. But what we've seen in some of these special elections that we've had, or regular scheduled elections where Democrats are massively outperforming, is that it has been driven primarily by two things. Latino, or I should say three things. Number one, Republicans not turning out. That is what Afton Bain has to count on here. But also that Latino voters are rapidly reverting back to the Democratic Party. That's what we saw in New Jersey. That is what drove Mikey Sherrill to win by 13 in New Jersey. And also, African Americans, not them reverting back to the Democrats because they've always stayed with the Democrats in 2024 even, but they are turning out in droves, even more than they did in 2024. And looking at Tennessee 7th, it is not, you know, we aren't seeing the level of Hispanic and Black voter significance like we've seen in New Jersey, in Virginia, especially, I mean, with both those demographics, in Florida, which we're about to talk about, we had special elections. It's not nothing. It's 7.4% Hispanic, 15.8% Black, but they're not a dominant force in this district. Okay? Is 70% white. That's not a good. I mean, again, if Afton Bain pulls off a victory in a Trump plus 22, 70% white district, it would turn out around Nashville. That is what she has to do. She has to, there's 16% of the population in this district, but she has to make them, 25% of the voters. That is what she has to do. While she lets those white Republicans stay home, she has to get these Black Democrats to the ballot box. That is what will be crucial. And also letting Republicans stay home. And that leads us to the one more thing I want to talk about. And it's the fact that months ago, this was in June, Democrats outperformed by a lot in Florida. And if Afton Bain can replicate this and just add a little bit more, she can be elected to Congress. In the 1st District of Florida, they had a special election. This was Matt Gaetz' seat. He resigned to try to become Attorney General. That failed, of course. Now it's Pam Bondi. But in Florida's 1st, to fill Matt Gaetz' seat, you had the Republican Jimmy Patronis defeat Gabe Valmont, the Democrat, by a margin of 14 points. 14 points. Okay, a solid win, right? Well, look at the previous election results in November of 2024 when Matt Gaetz won re-election. Matt Gaetz won re-election by the same Democratic candidate, I will mind you, Gabe Valmont, by 32 points. Within a span of like 7 months, it went from Republican plus 32 to Republican plus 14. An 18-point trend towards the Democratic Party. If Afton Bain just adds 4 points more onto that, and with Trump even more unpopular than before that appears possible, then she can win this election. The same thing happened in the 6th District. In November of 2024, Michael Waltz won re-election by 33 points. 33 points. Randy Fine was elected to fill the seat over the Democrat Josh Wheel. Randy Fine won by 14. Went from 33 to 14, a 21-point trend towards the Democratic Party, which is a little bit more. Sorry, it was not 28 in the 1st district. Did I say 28 in the 1st district? It was not that much. But anyway, it looks like it is possible for Afton Bain to win the seat. All eyes on Tennessee 7th on December 2nd. So thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to subscribe down below. That helps out a lot. Drop a comment to let me hear your thoughts on this, and I'll see you all later.